Almost got to sleep earlier. Some youngin pulled into the parking lot. He's driving a mud covered, looks like a Jeep Grand Cherokee. Anyway, it's a bluish color. But he drove probably about, I don't know, I want to say 7 or 8 times around my vehicle. And he keeps coming back periodically just to rev up his vehicle as much as possible, which pretty much every night people do that. Hard to get any sleep. Eventually, I have a mental breakdown. This is no fun whatsoever. Anyway, I figured I'd turn on my camera the first time he did it, and by the time I was ready to turn it on, he was gone. He came back second time, and second time he didn't do the whole driving around my vehicle a bunch of times. He just accelerated as much as he possibly could, as loud as possible. And it sounded like he did it in first gear and just tried to keep it wrapped up in first gear. Anyway, he's been by 3 or 4 times since then. I think he's been here like 5 times overall, including the first time that he was going around my vehicle. But I'm tired. If it's not one of them youngins tearing around like like an idiot, then it's some heroin addict or fentanyl addict or methamphetamine addict. Or it's some crazy person like Molly or like Robert Farnsworth. I've been telling people about the abuse I'm going through everywhere I go. And people say they're sorry that's happening. I also tell them about what I do on my travels. And they tell me stuff like, man, that's really cool. Or, it's really cool that you do that. Well, it's not cool that I do that. It's not cool that I go out and try to find missing people. It's about the grossest thing I can think of right now. But there's also the families of the missing. And the missing themselves. You guys don't stop to consider that, yeah, sure, maybe she's just out partying. Maybe somebody's torturing her to death. We've gotten to see with some of these sickos and perverts, like that guy up in Spokane. How long did he have that woman locked up? A really long time. Spokane is a really nasty place, it turns out. I'm tired of all the corpses. They're just gross. Those used to be somebody's son, somebody's daughter, somebody's brother or sister. turned into rotten meat, stinking up the place. I'm tired of all the dead people. This is what it's like in peacetime for us. One corpse after another. Our friends, our families, our loved ones. But we're out here on the streets because we don't have any actual loved ones. Nobody actually works together with us. It's every man for himself. Even your best friend, he'll have that moment of desperation. Is he going to do what it is that most people would do? Is he going to rob you blind? No. Yeah. Yeah, he probably will. It'll be that guy that you trust, too. That guy that you helped carry his backpack for 3 months because he was trying to get a job. He was trying to get some sort of housing going. He's getting ready to have a kid with somebody else who is out on the streets. He needs help with this, needs help with that. And after you jump through all them hoops, where's he at? I've had a lot of people rip me off, promise me they'll help me how I need, and then they just take advantage of me. And then they treat me like I should be happy. I should be ecstatic that they took advantage of me, that they lied to me, that they misrepresented the situation. But you know what? I'll get my revenge in the end, right? That's what everybody wants to say. Oh, I'll get mine. I'm gonna get mine. Why? Why can't it be about saving lives instead of destroying them? Anyway, apparently that youngin is done tearing around like an idiot for at least the time being. Hopefully I can get some sleep. I gotta be able to at least try to function in the morning. I gotta be able to try to think in the morning. Oh, and there's somebody over there with their vehicle pointed at me for some odd reason. You can see the headlights. I guess we could open the door and take a look at what kind of a vehicle it is. Oh, not somebody who's pointing it at us. I think it's somebody just trying to get some sleep. There's about 2 or 3 different vehicles that show up at various points of the night and clean the businesses, I guess, too. The one that cleans well, I was going to say the one that cleans the laundromat usually does so right before close, but now I remember that guy who was doing it said that he quit when they changed owners, which is something that just recently happened, like within the last month or so. They have enough resources in this town to completely get rid of homelessness in this town. Matter of fact, they could do it in about 5 hours. Boulder, Colorado, it would take a lot more than that. They do have enough vacant houses to do such a thing, but those vacant houses are, well, they want millions and millions and millions of dollars for them. A lot of them are still owned by banks. There's houses in Boulder, Colorado, multi-million-dollar houses that are owned by rich people that fucking died. And so they don't really belong to a rich person that died. They actually belong to the bank because rich people do that crap too. Having the whole accountant thing, that's not a joke. When you got that much money, you have to have an accountant. For somebody at the bottom, we need an accountant too. But it's all right, isn't it, that we don't have one? We don't have the money to hire an accountant. But we do have plenty of money for tearing around like idiots at 1 o'clock in the morning. For me, you might want to say, oh, Sean, you got no room to speak. Actually, I got plenty of room to speak. People didn't listen to me when I went to them nicely, when I asked them nicely, when I tried to explain. And then people ended up dead. And instead of these people at least admitting that I went to them for help, what did they do? They made me spend hundreds of hours going through and taking screenshots showing that, yeah, I went to a lot of people for help. People were harming me. It shows that I wasn't trying to touch anybody's winky dink, wasn't trying to get a sensual massage. I was letting people know what was going on. I was being hurt. I was being harmed. I don't mean just emotionally. I mean physically. I was being separated from my loved ones. You guys want to talk about how horrible this is when a man locks a woman away in a house, takes away her keys, takes away her shoes, takes away her phone so she can't communicate with any of her loved ones or any of her friends. You guys talk about how horrible that is. Well, guess what? All a woman's got to do is tell one of the 3 lies, and magically it's okay to destroy a man's life. I needed to get a day in court where I could show my evidence, and I was never allowed that. I was never allowed that. If I had known that I was allowed a court date against Natalie, or that she was even in the state of Colorado, it still wouldn't have mattered, because I didn't have the money to go. Legally, I'm supposed to have enough time where if I can't make it to court, that I have to let them know and have it in 7 days before court. Well, I was served papers 6 days before court and didn't even know I had a court date. There's no way I could have even made it to a court date. Meanwhile, the guy who was supposed to help me out, his name was Jeffrey Ritter, and he never helped me out. He never lifted a finger to stop the violence against me or the threats or the harassment. Never lifted a finger to try to do something about the thefts. I went to Jeff Ritter and Kara Heller for months while still trying to go back to Nebraska and see Nicole Peralta. I was going everywhere I was supposed to for help. All it did was cost me everything and get me harmed.